Hello and welcome to your Fantasy Premier League one-stop shop. I'm your host Stephen Gallagher, world number 3 in points totals over the past 3 seasons. Today we're looking at all the key points for Game Week 36, chip strategies, free hit and wildcard drafts, players to buy, fixtures to target, captaincy and more. If you're watching on YouTube and have been enjoying the videos, then consider subscribing. We're aiming for 5,000 subscribers by the end of the season. Let's get straight into it, starting with the chip strategies. There's only 3 game weeks left, so it's time to use those chips if you haven't yet. Starting with the assistant manager chip. If you haven't used it yet, then you have to use it this game week because it runs over 3 game weeks and that's all we have left. So I think the 3 best options to use it this week are Thomas Frank, who has Ipswich away, Fulham at home, Wolves away. He could be a nice differential. But if you want a safer pick, then Pep is the one to go for. He has Southampton away, Bournemouth at home, then Fulham away. He's definitely a safe pick though. And then finally, I think Emery is another good shout. He has Bournemouth away, Spurs at home, and then Man United away. So those are my favorite picks on assistant manager, and make sure to use it this week if you haven't already. If you still have your triple captain chip left, then these are the best options in my opinion. We've got one of the City boys, either KDB or Marmoush this game week against Southampton away. Could also use it this game week on Mbumo against Ipswich away or Wood against Leicester at home. And another option is to wait until 38 and use it on one of Saka against Southampton away, Bowen against Ipswich away, or even Kluivert against Leicester at home. But in my opinion, the best time to use it is on one of these Game Week 36 options because we never know what team a manager will put out on the last game of the season, depending on if the season and the table is already wrapped up by then or not. So I still actually have my triple captainship left, and I'm currently looking at De Bruyne or Marmoush this game week because Southampton are the worst defence and Man City are on a tear towards a Champions League spot, and with the way the table is looking, the spots are so tight, the points are very close together. It could actually come down to goal difference, and I think Man City will see this game as an opportunity to get ahead in goal difference. So they have a lot to play for. The only concern is rotation in that City side, especially with Haaland back, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. If you plan to use your free hit this week, then I'd go for something like this. I've gone for Sells in nets and Neco Williams in defence. It's a Forest defensive double up against Leicester. Then Gvardiol against Southampton and Sessegnon, the free hit king, against Everton at home. In the midfield, it's Brentford double up with Mbumo and Sade, then Bruno against West Ham and De Bruyne against Southampton. And then in the attack, Wood against Leicester at home, Wissa finishing off the Brentford triple up in attack. And then Haaland has found his way into the free hit draft as a nice differential, but he could definitely become Marmoush if we get any leaks before the deadline that Haaland isn't going to start. If you're wildcarding this week, then I'd go for something like this. It's very similar to the free hit draft, except we've got Bowen instead of Bruno in the midfield, Isak instead of Wood up top, and on the bench we've got Pickford, Rodgers, Aitnery and O'Brien. So there's some really nice options there for rotations in the defence, and also with the goalkeeper rotation, I just really like the look of this team on wildcard for the next 3 game weeks. Next up is defences to target using our fixture difficulty and defensive strength ratings until the end of the season, with the immediate fixtures given more importance than the later fixtures. First in the rankings are Nottingham Forest. Fixtures are great, and I know their defensive data hasn't actually been amazing recently, but in terms of the other defenses to go for, I still think with these fixtures and Forest's defensive record over the course of the season, I do think they're a solid pick for the remaining 3 game weeks. Neco Williams is the best option in terms of the budget options, and then Milenkovic, another good pick with his attack and threat from set pieces. Second in the rankings are Man City. Their fixtures are good, they're fighting for that Champions League spot, and their defensive data has improved significantly. Gvardiol, definitely the one to go for. He's got the best attacking data of all the defenders, and he's as nailed on as a City asset can be in that Guardiola side. Third in the rankings are Everton. Their upcoming fixtures are really nice. With Tarkowski out for the rest of the season, their appeal is lessened slightly. You'd assume it makes them a worse defense, but the fixtures are definitely still there to attack. Any of these 3, O'Brien, Mykolenko and Patterson, although O'Brien is putting up the best attacking data for them, so he'd be the one that I go for there. On to attacks to target. First in the rankings are Man City. As I said already, their fixtures are great. They're fighting for that Champions League spot. Erling Haaland is back in training. He's definitely an option as well as Marmoush and KDB. With Haaland back, we don't know which of these three will start. It could be all three of them, so we'll have to keep an eye out for any team leaks before the deadline. Second in the rankings are Brentford. Mbeumo and Wissa are both great pickups this game week. The fixtures are there with Ipswich away, Fulham at home, then Wolves away. They're in great form, and the double up with both of them is definitely a viable option too. Third in the rankings are Forest. The fixtures are good with Leicester at home and West Ham away in the next two. Chris Wood and Elanga, the two best options from them. They've not been attacking or defending particularly well recently, but they've got the Champions League spot to play for, so there'll be a lot of motivation to finish the season strong. 10th in the rankings are West Ham. We've jumped down the table a bit, but they've got Man United away in 36, Forest at home in 37, then Ipswich away in 38. Really nice fixtures there, and in the past 10 game weeks, those three teams rank 15th, 17th and 20th for expected goals conceded respectively, so they make up 3 of the 6 worst defenses over the past 10 game weeks, and this man has been on form. Bowen with 3 goals and 2 assists in the past 5 games. He's going to feast on these defenses. I think he's a great pick this game week. On to the stats review, where we analyse the best performing players in every position statistically and combine that with the fixture difficulty ratings. Players in red are the most expensive and in green are the cheapest. For goalkeepers, we're looking at expected goals conceded per 90 against the defensive fixture difficulty ratings. We're really looking for players in the top right quadrant outlined by the dashed blue line. At the top of the plot we have Sells, Ederson and Pickford just below him. I think if I was buying a keeper, it would be one of these 3. So Ederson, obviously the most expensive option, but Pickford and Sells are both great pickups too, and you saw that they were in my wildcard draft as well. On to defenders, we're looking at expected goal involvement per 90 against the defensive fixture difficulty rating multiplied by the team's defensive strength. The Forest lads at the top with Nico Williams, Milenkovic and Moreno all the most attacking. Then a bit of a jump down, looking at the right side of the plot, we see Gvardiol, a great pick with his blend of defensive and attacking data. Robinson below him with good attacking data too. Then lower down we see the Liverpool defenders with Trent, Tsimikas, the most attacking, and that green mark in the bottom right is actually Ait-Nouri, putting up great attacking data, but he doesn't necessarily have the easiest upcoming fixtures statistically. On to the midfielders, we're looking at non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90 against the attacking fixture difficulty ratings. The Brentford boys Mbeumo and Sade up in the top left here. Great upcoming fixtures for them. Below them it's Foden and De Bruyne for City. Then we see a cluster of players on the left, Bowen just at the peak of them there, and I honestly think those are some of the best picks this game week. Mbeumo and Sade, De Bruyne and Bowen, all great pickups for the rest of the season. On to the forwards, Chris Wood and Delap at the top here. I think Chris Wood is a really nice pick as he's aiming for those 20 goals to finish the season, and Forest want the Champions League of course. Then in the top right of the plot we see Wissa with great data and fixtures. Then Marmoush and Haaland below him. Haaland's data is still so good, so if he's back then he'll be a big differential play. Then below him we see Watkins, Mateta and Nketiah. And if we look at the bottom of the plot we see Isak. The fixtures are really tough, but I still think he's a good hold for the rest of the season, and I would even have him on wildcard because Newcastle are just such a good attacking outfit and he's at the forefront of a lot of those attacks. On to captaincy, and in my top spot I have De Bruyne against Southampton away. Assuming he starts, of course. I think he's a great captain. He's got the form, and with how close the points are for Champions League, it honestly could come down to goal difference. So City will see this game as an opportunity to really get ahead on that front, so I think he's a great captain. Then in second I have Mbeumo. Ipswich have been the worst defence in the league over the past 10 games according to expected goals conceded. I can see Brentford and Mbeumo putting a few past them here. He's on pens, he's got the form, and the fixture is definitely there to be had. In third I have Wood against Leicester at home. It's another great fixture matchup. He's hungry for that 20 goal season, and Forest need a result here to stay in the run for a Champions League spot. In fourth I have Marmoush, again assuming he starts of course. I just think this Southampton fixture is definitely one to attack. City are in great form, and to be fair this fourth spot could also be Haaland. I'm just not sure whether he starts, but if he does, we saw how well Marmoush played with Haaland in the team, so I still think that Marmoush is a good option for captaincy this game week, even if we know that Haaland is going to play. And then finally in fifth I have Wissa. The man is in great form. He scored 4 games in a row now. He's not got the pens though, which is why Mbeumo is still ahead of him here, but I still really like Wissa as a nice differential captaincy pick. On to my game week 35 review. 54 points all out and a green arrow up to 225k. Not where we want to be at this point in the season, but the transfers went well. I got Bowen in for Rashford, which obviously went really well. Bowen picking up 9 points there. And then I also got O'Brien in for a nice 0-pointer. So that was a bit of a bust. And so was my captaincy pick as well of Marmoush. But I had a nice return from De Bruyne and Van Dijk too with a goal. So definitely a decent week overall. Let's take a look at how I'm lining up for Game Week 36. Looking at this team, I think the obvious issues for this game week and for the rest of the season are Burn and Estupinian in defence. They don't have the best fixtures. And then Sarr and Mateta in attack. We're not sure how much rotation we'll see in that Palace side with them prioritising the FA Cup final. And when I look at this, the most obvious transfer for me is Mateta to Wood because of that FA Cup fixture. Obviously, Palace have 6 days to recover from this Spurs fixture before the final, so I do think Mateta will start, but I can see him playing for just 75 minutes or so again like he did last game week. And also the fact that Eze took a penalty with Mateta on the pitch, I just see Wood as a 90-minute man on penalties. He's got better fixtures for the rest of the season, and there's a lot more that Forest have to play for in the Prem compared to Palace, so I like the look of Wood in this game week. Another option though is to get rid of Sarr too for a -4, and I would go for one of Elanga or Sade, but I'm just not sure at the moment whether it's worth the -4. And then another move I'm considering is a Stupinian to Nico Williams to sort out this defense. But again, I haven't decided if that's worth the hit just yet. So those are the moves that I'm considering. I haven't made a transfer yet, so if you want to see what I end up going for, then tune into my deadline stream 1 hour before the deadline at 12:30 p.m. UK time this Saturday. So that's all for today, folks. Go ahead and drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and rate 5 stars on audio if you're listening on Spotify or Apple. We're still aiming for that 5,000 subscribers by the end of the season. We're so close now, so join the community if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, have a good one.